Hello, everyone. I just arrived here in Japan and I wanted to do a live right away just because I feel so good. I could feel the difference from being here almost immediately right after I stepped on the plane. But when I woke up is when I really feel it after I slept at the hotel. I am back. Settled in my dorm room here in Yokohama, Japan, and I am very excited to do some healings for all of you live. Um, I was traveling, and while I was traveling, I didn't have access to social media. My phones were acting funny, and I don't have a number here, so I couldn't get online. But one of the first things I saw this morning when I finally started scrolling through my phone was that Charlie Kirk of Turning Point of America was assassinated. And this really disturbed me. I had my problems with him and that whole organization because of not so much of because of what they say is how they presented it and how they um, didn't upload any debates with people who have any media training. As a matter of fact, they purposely did that and instead favoring debating with 18-year-olds who don't really know anything, or rather don't know how to form an argument. They don't know how to argue yet, and that's always struck me as dishonest. I even debated with them once, so I had personal experience. It was another conservative outlet. Wasn't sure it was Turning Point, but they couldn't argue with me because I'm an older student and I know stuff and I know a little bit about how to argue. And they basically conceded and said, you know what, let the girl behind you speak. You've been talking a while, and since she was just 18 and didn't know how to counter, she just kept talking in circles because she didn't know really what she was doing, and they capitalized that. And of course, they uploaded that into their channel where they'll get millions and millions of views and point out, see, these kids aren't learning anything in higher education. Um, it is what it is. But that's besides the point. Charlie Kirk has had many asking, either sarcastically or through reflection, depending on which side of the political aisle you come from, why his faith did not protect him. Now, here's the thing: Christianity never offered that kind of protection. It does not have purification nor the means to remove spiritual defilement in the living. Its promise only lies in salvation after death, not in shielding the faithful from the forces of darkness that move through this world. And history bears this out right. The martyrs of the early church, saints, reformers, all believed, yet all meant very violent ends. Even Christ himself, the central figure of this faith, was executed. Call it what you want, he was executed. Um, and yeah, I'm not saying he existed or not, but as far as the stories go, that's what happened, right? He was executed and put to death because of what he was doing or preaching. Said faith does not stop evil from acting, and it does not cleanse the stains that cling to people or guard against the spirits that move others to hatred. Without purification, Christianity leaves its followers exposed. Christians call a certain type of thing purification, but it's different, right? The Shinto idea of it is different, and of course, a lot of you who have come to my groups have experienced that. But as far as Christianity goes, it cannot remove corruption that settles into the soul, nor the corruption that drives others to kill. So the shooter who ended Kirk's life, and we don't know who it is yet, may have told him or herself he acted for justice or that he served a higher cause. But ideology without purification always collapses into shadow. In truth, violence never serves light. It binds the soul and chains it to darkness and deceives the mind into thinking murder is service. And evil works this way. It hides behind ideals and causes and creates obsession, but at its root, it only consumes. It's parasitic in nature or by nature, right? The assassin may have believed he or she struck down a symbol of MAGA or the conservatives, but in reality, this person struck down their own spirit, tying themselves to forces far greater and darker than this person could understand. So, another thing I've seen online is people calling it karma. Some people are celebrating Kurt's death, and others, and even the ones celebrating, call it karma, or others that are just kind of shrug and call it karma. But both of these responses are empty. To rejoice in death is to drink from the same poison that drove the shooter. It is to invite that shadow into yourself, and to call it karma as if it's the universe itself, like the universe itself demanded this action, is to confuse a spiritual law with the capacity for human cruelty. And true karma isn't an excuse for blood. It is a teaching of cause and effect and of growth and of correction, right? As we do through these purifications. It's not a justification for violence. So when people celebrate or hide behind the word karma, they reveal their ignorance of the unseen world. Violence is not balance, and murder is not justice. Evil never becomes sacred simply because we dislike the one who suffers. So, on hearing the news of Kurt's death, it filled me with sadness. At first, I thought, oh, he got shot, but it sounds like he might survive. Then I heard that, oh, well, he didn't make it. Um, it makes me real sad, and not only because of the act itself, but because it reminded me of the risk of speaking openly in America. I know that if I stayed and grew what I'm doing there, someone might lash out against me too. Not because of who I am, but because of what I say and what I could do. Whether it's like exposing like this illusion of star seeds and extraterrestrial benevolent races. Yes, some people might hear that and not think that's a thing, but it is. Or scientifically proving the existence of the unseen world being completely and it being completely different than the religious believe it to be, can be enough to draw enough hatred for someone to, think that I might be the. I don't want to think too highly of myself, but people have a lot of really messed up perceptions when they think of, religion and spiritual ideals, right? Yeah. So, but that realization is part of why I came here to Japan, and just seeing that kind of reinforced that this is the was the right decision to make. Here I could walk the path of what I'm doing more fully, and I could speak without living under the same shadow of retaliation. And the choice to leave wasn't just spiritual. It may someday have actually been potentially for my own safety. Kurt's death and the shadow or the shallow reactions to it reminded me that faith without purification and experience and the fact that already I'm seeing a lot of, how can I say it, a lot of denial, or rather resistance over what I can do. Um, Offers no shield, right? There are things, right? However, um, if truth spoken clearly, truth spoken clearly will always attract both light and shadow. So I'm going to leave this at that. I am going to, I'll get this video uploaded pretty quickly, and then I'm going to jump right into a purification. I don't know what time it is. It is 6:30 here, 6:30 p.m. here in Japan, and I'm excited to see what this does next. Again, yeah, the whole thing makes me sad. I I don't really know what else to say. I think I've said enough. You won't hear me speaking politically very much on this channel. However, I will speak to the evident imbalance of um, different incidents that I see where, yeah, that's enough.